But when the whistleblower makes a big report on the conversation I had with a president of Ukraine, and it was a great conversation. We talked mostly about congratulations on your win. We talked about corruption, and we're really referring mostly to 2016, because what the Democrats did in 2016 was corrupt. And let's see what happens. They're more concerned with that than they are with me and impeachment. They're trying to hide what maybe is coming. I let our great, if you look, I let our great law enforcement take care of it, okay? Attorney General Barr, I guess, is working on it, and I hope he's working on it, because what happened in 2016 is a disgrace to this country. And they're more worried about that, because they know they're guilty as hell, all right? They're much more worried about that.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we're going to take a look at the latest new Q post. As Q says, it's game over for the corrupt individuals, the corrupt cabal who is trying to sell out our country globally to undermine our security and sovereignty. And we're going to look at who is a part of this massive conspiracy to overthrow a duly elected president and how we have come to the point that we are at today. So you guys are going to want to stick around and check out that and a whole lot more. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. I'm your host, Craig, and I want to say thank you to everybody who's here already. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please come here, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications, and then you got to select the all button so you get notified as soon as all of these videos are posted. Yes, we have a bunch of new Q posts that we're going to get into here today, and we're just going to jump right into it. So where we left off was at Q post 3865. We're picking up at Q post 3866, and there's been a lot that's happened over the last few days. Obviously, I haven't posted in a few days, and I hope you guys will forgive me, but just had to be with the family and take care of a few things, and now I'm back. So we're going to get right into it, and then we're going to talk about a few other interesting news stories that are really pertinent to everything that's happening here today. So you guys, let's start right here. The first post that Q wants us to look at is this Axiom report clip from Hannity, right, where Hannity says, quote, "Sources confirm that AG Barr is focused on something much bigger, much deeper, that will have far-ranging, serious ramifications. Evidence is overwhelming and incontrovertible. Slam dunk case. Bigger slam dunk charges coming." Where we go one, we go all. Q anon. Yeah, so, I mean, Hannity basically says it here on the show that there's bigger slam dunk charges coming. And it's parroting exactly what QAnon just said on the boards the other day. But you know what? Just ignore it. We're all just a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists. There's nothing to see here, is what you would be hearing if you were watching the fake news right now, but you're not. So in this particular instance, I'm going to play the clip from Hannity, and then we'll talk about it.
We have more good news. The McCabe dismissal is, frankly, when you really look at it, it's a declination to prosecute on one specific issue. Here's my read between that and General Flynn news today, because we know that Barr just installed an outside counsel to look into the General Flynn case. So I'm reading the tea leaves here, and my sources confirming, the same sources that I've been using for you and getting the story right for 3 years, that the Attorney General, Bill Barr, is now focused on something much bigger, much deeper, that will have far-ranging ramifications, serious ramifications for that 1% that abuse power, that 1% involved in the corruption, those deep state bureaucrats who abuse their power. Because as we speak, the Durham Barr criminal probe is underway. I've been told by my sources that, in fact, it has gone deep, it has gone wide, it has gone far, and the evidence they are accumulating is overwhelming and incontrovertible. That's what my sources are telling me tonight. On this program, we refer to all of this as the investigation into the investigators. Now, according to reports, this investigation is scrutinizing the actions now, and we've been wondering when this is going to come. Former CIA Director John Brennan and many other current and former deep state officials responsible for the Russia hoax. Remember, the origins of the Russia hoax. That's the heart of the investigation, and now it has expanded out far and wide. Durham has spent weeks in Italy and Great Britain. That would tell me and indicate to me that the outsourcing of intelligence gathering and spying on Americans to circumvent American law is in play. I am told that this evidence that we already have, it was about premeditated fraud on a FISA court. Nobody else in the media got that story right. We got it right on this program. The evidence is proven. It's a slam dunk case.
So obviously there you have Hannity saying it's a slam dunk and pointing out exactly what we've been told by Q for quite some time now, that they're not going to go after these guys on these little process crimes. I mean, I gave an example to someone earlier I was talking to, and I said basically it's like this. If we're putting together a conspiracy case against El Chapo and we're trying to get him on RICO for running the largest drug cartel in Mexico, are we really going to, waste our time processing him for jaywalking or for switching lanes illegally or for coming here illegally when we have a much bigger important case that has to have our attention as far as putting it together? And you got to remember, these investigations and these indictments and everything take a long time to compile and put together. So that's what I see here. This is how I read it. It's simple. You're not going to go after these guys over these little process crimes of lying and all that stuff, because remember, that's why they go after guys like Flynn and Stone and the rest for these little process crimes, because they don't have a bigger case being built. Right? They don't have a larger investigation being worked on right now. What they do have are, oh, he lied on a 302 that was probably doctored, or, oh, he lied about, or exaggerated some connection that he had. That's all they have. Whereas we have actual cases that are coming down the pipeline, presumably. So the next one here, which I thought was really interesting, was this tweet from Q about CJ Truth from this long thread, and it talks about how this all is put together. So let's read through the thread real quick. It's only like, I think, 10 posts or so. But this is an interesting thread. We'll read right through it. Do you think nothing is happening? You might want to think again. A week in review. Do you remember when Q wrote on Sunday, February 9th of this week, Justice Q? So what happened since then? It says, 1, this week, Chinese telecommunications conglomerate Huawei and subsidiaries charged in racketeering conspiracy to steal trade secrets. Jussie Smollett indicted with 6 charges for his hoax crimes. Justice Department launches legal assault to roll back sanctuary cities. AG Barr announced that Giuliani had turned over to them investigative information about Ukraine corruption with former administration. Trump goes on a Twitter spree highlighting that nothing ever happened to the crimes Tony Podesta did. Trump torches corrupt Judge Berman Jackson about injustices about Manafort, but gave HRC a pass. Michael Avenatti found guilty on all charges today. Roger Stone's sentencing evaluated by AG Barr as being outrageous. 9 years for lying to Congress. Rape is only 3 to 5. And the four corrupt Mueller investigators all resigned. 5, I'm here to announce the indictment of Chinese military hackers for breaking into the computer systems of the credit reporting agency Equifax and for stealing the sensitive personal information of nearly half of all American citizens. Trump White House fires Alexander Vindman. Trump White House fires Gordon Sondland. Trump National Security Council removes 70 former Obama holdovers, with maybe even more coming. Graham sent a letter to Attorney General Barr on Friday asking that he makes 17 officials, many of whom are identified only by title, available for interviews. Durham scrutinizing John Brennan's handling of Russian interference in 2016. AG Barr installs outside prosecutor to review case against General Flynn amid turmoil in Roger Stone case and refusal to charge Andrew McCabe at the U.S. AODC. The AG has sent outside prosecutors to review politically sensitive cases. 10, this is only Friday afternoon. 2, as I said before, for those crying about McCabe getting off for lying, you really don't understand the big picture. If you start really paying attention, then you won't be the kid on the left, but the kid on the right. So there you go. This is pretty interesting. You read through this thread and it tells you what you need to know about all of the events that happen, and it puts it together very succinctly and very clearly. And not to mention, I think it's interesting that Q, reposted somebody named CJ Truth. Just saying. But moving forward, the next post here, 3868, that Q gives us, first points us to this Twitter post from this Carly Q Kaluscapy saying the secret tarmac meeting. What happens when Loretta Lynch can no longer provide legal cover for the Clintons? Tarmac meetings end. Q, the more you know. So what are they talking about here? Obviously the meeting between between Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch on the tarmac in that Arizona airport, where it was said that they only discussed golf and grandkids, when what has been alleged to have happened on that plane was that Bill Clinton offered Loretta Lynch a seat on the Supreme Court if she would just throw away the case against Hillary Clinton, so that when Hillary Clinton won, presumably that's what they all thought was going to happen, they never thought she would lose, that then she would in turn nominate her to fill the vacancy on the Supreme Court, and bada boom, bada bing, there you go, cover up complete. But President Trump and the Patriots, who are in control now, threw a wrench into all of that. Q says, page 203 of this, which is the other thing that Q points to, the Office of the Inspector General report, if we go and read it, Q tells us to look at this quote saying, the OPA supervisor said that he later learned from that former President Clinton's Secret Service detail had contacted Lynch's FBI security detail and let them know that the former president wanted to meet with Lynch. Although Lynch's staff was supposed to receive notice of such requests, witnesses told us that they were not informed of the request from President or former President Bill Clinton. Let me ask you something. If this is out of the Office of Inspector General's report, and it's telling us, this is the original report from back in 2018, that this is telling us right here the opposite of what they told us, right? They told us it was a happen chance thing. They happened to be at the airport at the same time, and they just wanted to have a friendly conversation about golf and grandkids. But here we are seeing this out of the report that told us and confirmed that they had coordinated this meeting. So which is it? And why the secretive meeting on a tarmac? Obvious. They had to have a private place to discuss how the then Attorney General would handle the investigation and subsequent onslaught of media that would happen with and associated with this major case against Hillary Clinton in these emails. And they discussed how to handle it by doing what? By squashing it, by getting rid of it. And that seems to be what they did. It says coordination, date of tarmac meeting, date of HRC investigation, end announcement, 1 + 1 = 2. It's going to be a very hot spring, summer. Q. So yeah, if you look at all of it and how it all aligns, it really makes you think and wonder, why was this all ended, and when did this all happen? The tarmac meeting happened before the investigation ended, and here you go. So putting it together for you guys, and Q saying, look at this very closely, and that this is going to be coming up, especially as we move into the next election cycle, because this has never really been resolved, and we've been ongoing with Durham investigating the coup against President Trump. We haven't even had time to get into the Huber investigations, which seem to have fizzled out, but in all reality, there was more than just John Huber. And remember, B-2 stealth bombers, that might be something to consider. There may be a few more out there that you don't know about or I don't know about yet. Just saying. Now, the next one here, Q points us to this older Q post from December 2019, which gave us this a YouTube video and said, watch and listen carefully. Dems threaten to cull independently elected officials to fall in line, follow orders, or face being ousted. Who controls the Democratic Party? Who really controls the Democratic Party? Threat. If a major political party can be controlled, does that represent a clear and present danger to the United States of America? George Soros Q. Yeah, it does. In my humble opinion, if an entire political party can be controlled by an outside force that is not the independent electorate of this country, then that is a clear and present danger to the United States of America. And if that individual happens to be a guy like George Soros or anyone else, that is wrong. And we're here calling it out, but it gets so much worse as Q goes on to elaborate. He then points us to this Ryan Saavedra story where it talks about the Dershowitz coming out and saying that he has proof that Obama ordered an FBI investigation at the request of George Soros. So this is all kind of cryptic what Alan Dershowitz is saying at this point. And yes, I know he's connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, I know he represented Jeffrey Epstein. I also know that Q's told us that he is on board. And I also know that Virginia, whatever her name is, Roberts or Greff, I'm not sure which one it is, but she said and made these claims against Alan Dershowitz. And I'm not saying whether he's a good guy or a bad guy, but I know that we're being pointed to this information for a very important reason, and that's because this may be the bombshell that everybody has to see to believe. Because think about it. The reason why Dershowitz is being brought in to this is because he's a Democrat, because he's been revered by the left because he's been in all of these circles. Now, I'm not saying he's a good guy, and he's not I don't know him personally. I don't know anything about him. But I will say this. If he is in possession of evidence, the left has to take him seriously. The fake news can't just dismiss him. He's not somebody who that CNN will, I mean, they'll try, of course. But at this point, it doesn't look like they could go after him in that way. So that's why it's important to have him on board with what's going on here as far as the disclosure goes. But anyway, he goes on to say that he is in possession of FBI 302s, right? That seemed, those are the documents, recorded, conversations, investigation reports, and that seem to show that George Soros had the power to go to our country's FBI and request an investigation. So that should be terrifying to most people, and that kind of gives you a clue into why the mainstream media keeps saying, George Soros is just this nice, innocent guy who has never done anything wrong. George Soros has been using his vast fortune to control and influence an entire political party in this nation, and has done it in a way that we've only seen the tip of the iceberg as far as how bad this actually gets and how deep it goes. But let's listen to what Q has to say about all this. Q says, purpose, Dems install numerous rules and regulations. Read the Democratic Party nomination winner. Define delegates. How do you control the outcome? Why is the outcome important when George Soros calls who races to answer? Illusion of democracy. Q. So think about it this way. What Q is telling us is the Democratic Party presents an illusion of democracy because it's really just controlled by people like George Soros and his ilk. It's the same people who think they can buy influence and control, like Mike Bloomberg and the rest. These guys who have billions and billions of dollars, who own the major corporations, who are in the pockets of all of, who have in their pockets all of the Democrat politicians who are a part of their little machine, their political machine that they've established, and then they fund their campaigns and they go to their little, dinners, pay $1,000 a plate, and then in return, they get whatever they want from the halls of Congress. And that's how it's been for quite some time now, while the American people were 100% asleep and they were being treated like sheep. But now the American people have been waking up, and they've been doing it in mass numbers, and that's why they attack Q. And that's why they want to shut down anybody who presents a different narrative to theirs, because they understand that when people start thinking outside the box and thinking for themselves and objectively looking at these facts, there's no way that they're going to come to the conclusion that the Democrats have been working for the will of the American people. They've been working for their own self-interest to enrich themselves and to sell the American people out to the highest bidder. And that's what it seems to have been for quite some time. So, you guys do with that what you may. Now, the next one here is Q just pointing back to this older Q post, which gave us the cover of Time, right, where they painted it like the Russian KGB building, which is crazy, right? This shows you how corrupt the whole media establishment is, because they want to try to portray President Trump as a Russian agent when all of the Democrats have been selling everything out to Russia and China and anyone else who would give them a few dollars, like the Saudis and the rest. So this is Q saying people around the world are waking up to the fact, not fiction, that corporate Democrat Party politically controlled 6 corporations own 90% media. Fake news is not unbiased journalism, not politically motivated and but politically motivated and controlled. Statements, not facts. Think for yourself and stop being a sheep to their narrative. They will be held accountable. Nobody walks away from this Q. So hopefully this is all a part of the plan, and I think it is. And it seems like we're letting these people show their true colors, because another thing is a lot of people go, oh, why isn't Trump firing everybody and kicking everybody out? I mean, has anybody ever heard of the saying, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer? So yeah, that's what that is. And let's just get to the next one here. The next one's 45 Harrison Herald on Twitter here saying, is this who George Soros made puppet Hussein investigate? So Q's told us there's this connection between George Soros and Hussein administration, to where he has this influence, either bought or leveraged through blackmail or whatever it is, that he was able to do things like we just talked about, as in ordering the FBI to investigate a person. Now, if this is true, that George Soros basically forced the Hussein administration to investigate President Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, at what point do we cross into the realm of treason? Or did we do that a long time ago and nobody wants to talk about it, and the fake news is covering it up, and they all are complicit in this massive conspiracy to not only overthrow President Trump, but to destroy this nation from within and cover up for the criminals who sold our global security and sovereignty to the highest bidders around the world. Saudis, the Chinese, the Russians. No. Nothing to see here. Let's watch this clip real quick.
There was tremendous corruption against me. If we feel there's corruption, we have a right to go to a foreign country. And just so you know, I was investigating. Okay, me, in my campaign, I ran, I won. You won't say that, will you? I was investigated, and they think it could have been by UK. They think it could have been by Australia. They think it could have been by Italy. So when you get down to it, I was investigated by the Obama administration. I was investigated. So when these people talk, but as far as I'm concerned, what I want to look at and what we want to investigate, anything having to do with corruption.
So there you have President Trump, laying it out. That's what it is. He was the one who was investigated. He was the one who was investigated by the Obama administration, where he went out and used Italy and the Australians and the British in order to pull off this hoax scam, trying to paint the President of the United States, the man we all voted for and trust, as a Russian agent for no other reason than President Trump was going to destroy the corrupt criminal cabal of political bureaucrats and criminal globalists who had basically made this fusion between each other, where they're donating to the Clinton Foundation and they're propping up these initiatives, the McCain Foundation. Look at what happened with Obama and the book deal. Look at what happened with Hillary Clinton, Uranium One deal. You can go down the list. There are so many things that you can list off just off the top of your head here, that it becomes incredibly obvious that these people have so much to lose and nothing to gain. Not to mention, there's certain things, I have sources that, have information that is going to shock the conscience of the public when it comes out. And that's all I can say about that. But you guys don't even know how bad all this gets, because it gets so much worse. You have to mark my words on that. But, yeah, Q says, do people really believe this attack can happen against the President of the United States and nothing will happen? Moves and counter moves, Q. And then Q says, finally, to be blunt, game over. That's what it is, folks. It's game over for these criminals. And trust me, I think I have a good idea of some of the information that's coming down the pipeline. And like I said, it's going to be so big that it's going to change the course of history. And I mean that not to be one of those people who's like, oh, well, you say all this and nothing happens. Well, guess what? We just saw all the things that have happened. And not only that, you can ignore it, you can mock it, you can say that it's all made up, but it's coming, and it's going to change the entire course of history for this country, because we're going to expose these people, and they can't shut us all down. They may shut a few of us here, a few of us there, but we will never back down. The patriots are in control. They're watching out for other patriots in this country, and we are not going to allow our system to be overtaken by these people again. And that's the way that's where I'm going to go ahead and just leave it. A few more things before we go. Obviously, stories coming out about George Soros now calling for the removal of Zuckerberg from Facebook, and the Sheryl Sandberg, the other person that works there. So there you go. That just tells you everything you need to know about him. President Trump goes to Zuckerberg, says you can't use this CIA LifeLog or DARPA LifeLog program to, basically manipulate the elections and do all the things that we know you can do, right? Like Dr. Epstein, not related to Jeffrey Epstein, Dr. Epstein, who went and testified in front of Congress and said that Mark Zuckerberg, with one message on Facebook, could sway 10 million votes or more, right? That is what we're trying to avoid. And because Mark Zuckerberg won't use that influence, George Soros says he needs to be removed because he's not controllable. Well, that's all you need to know about that, right? Another thing here, just wanted to point out, Trump administration officials have announced that they're going to reassign this woman, Victoria Coates, from the National Security Council because everyone is labeling her as this anonymous author who wrote the op-ed at the New York Times that said that she was a part of the resistance within President Trump's administration. Now, let me ask you something. First of all, like I said before, keep your friends close, enemies closer. Genius move, right? We kept all these people near and let them expose themselves because it's easy. These people are stupid. But also, what I thought was interesting about this story is that this woman now has been labeled as anonymous, right? And where is President Trump transferring her? Well, it seems that President Trump's going to transfer the anonymous, supposedly anonymous author to the Department of Energy. And what do we know about the Department of Energy? That's where we first talked about the Q clearance. And where it came from was the Department of Energy. So is that just another proof of Q, another, wink and a nod to the Anons out there? Like, we'll take the Anon and put him in the Department of Energy. Probably in a very lowly position at this point if they are that person who tried to overthrow a president. But maybe the Department of Energy has an outpost up in Alaska somewhere where it doesn't get too sunny and it's not too comfortable. But you never know. And the next one here is this American thinker. I'm going to leave a link to this. I want you guys to read it. Another great story by them about QAnon. Just a great thing if you want to share with your friends, family, whoever. And if you want to read it yourself, get it, read it. It's very interesting. And finally, the FBI's raiding James Biden-tied business. Well, I wonder, nothing's happening, yet everything is happening. So just remember that. And finally, don't forget, it's all going to come out what happened. We had this NYPD detective who's just committed suicide in his Queens home. It's a very sad, tragic story. We pray for his family. And ultimately, though, don't forget, General Flynn, back in November of 2016, retweeted the Eric Prince story from Breitbart, where Eric Prince tells us in no uncertain terms that the NYPD was ready to make arrests because of all the criminal information that was found in the 600,000 plus emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop. And a lot of these officers, according to my sources, saw this information. There was about, I don't know how many, somewhere around 10 or 12, and they're all no longer with us, it seems. So that's what is happening. And I don't know if it's witness relocation or if it's witness protection or if it's, just Clinton, who knows what. But I'm putting it this way. This is something that we have to continue to keep our eye on because these stories aren't going away. But that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave it. I want to say thank you guys for watching. Remember to watch these videos, share them, because there's a content suppression algorithm. YouTube is trying to actively suppress this content and keep it away from you. I haven't had a video that I used to have videos that would get 150, 200, 300,000 views. I haven't had a video go over 150,000 or 130,000 views since basically I think about July, when they came in and they gutted the channel and tried to take away all the monetization and demonetize every video and put me out of business, even though you guys stepped up and kept it going. So, the algorithm's rhythmic suppression is real. Watch this video if you want to learn more about QAnon and leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to think about everything. Also, don't forget, be brave. Download the Brave browser. Go down the link in the description. Download it, install it, and run it on your computer. It's free. It's an internet browser. It's better than the one you're using because it blocks ads, and it's going to make your internet experience that much better. Please go download it and try it out for yourself. And when you do that, they'll make a contribution to this channel. So, definitely go check that out. It's a great product. I really encourage you all to go check it out. Also, come find me over here on Twitter at JustinFormedYou. It's a great way to connect outside the channel. I have JustinFormedNews.com, the official website for Just Informed Talk, with links and the latest videos here. And also, I got a backup channel on BitChute.com/JustinFormedTalk. And a couple other ways you can help out financially are both here, Patreon, Patreon.com. It's a crowdfunding website. Monthly donation. Your support keeps this channel going. Like I said, YouTube came in around July after the fake news wrote a bunch of hit pieces, and one of them happened to talk about my channel, and it was from the HuffPost, and then all of a sudden they took away all the monetization. Anyway, long story short, they tried to put it out of business. You guys have kept it going. Thank you for your support. Also, I have a GoFundMe set up if you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation. So check all that out in the links. Links to everything that we talked about here today will be in the description. Now, before we go, we do a segment at the end of each one of these episodes called God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And today, I want to talk about this very important verse. It's out of the book of Luke, and it's an important story, and it's the parable of the lost sheep. And I want to remind everybody that, you know, as much as we talk about these evil, depraved, lost souls all the time, we can't lose what makes us Christians. We can't lose that faith that we can help others become better. And I want to read this to you because it's so easy to become cynical and to lose that hope for humanity. And I want to share this with you, but it says, and this is Luke chapter 15, verse 1 through 7. It says, all the tax collectors and sinners were approaching to listen to him, and the Pharisees and scribes were complaining, this man welcomes sinners and eats with them. So he told them this parable. What man among you who has 100 sheep and loses one of them does not leave the 99 in the open field and go after the lost one until he finds it? When he has found it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders, and coming home, he calls his friends and neighbors together, saying to them, rejoice with me, because I have found my lost sheep. I tell you, in the same way, there will be more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous people who don't need repentance. And that's what we have to remind ourselves. We have to put it out there every single day and remind ourselves, as Jesus taught us right here, we have to try to help those. Help the sinners. We have to go and be with those who are in need, whose souls are about to be lost, because that's what we're called to do. We're called to help others, to help bring them back to God, to help show them God's incredible mercy and kindness, and remind them that no matter how far gone they are, there was this great sacrifice made, and some people may never come back. And that is a part of life. There are going to be people who are too evil, naive, or lost, or just, angry, or whatever it is, to find that the joy and peace of knowing Christ in their hearts. But there are those who are waiting to be saved, who need your help, who need our help. And that's my message to you. Go out into the world and try to save those who need our help. Remember that Jesus didn't dine with the righteous. He dined with the tax collectors and the sinners, because he was trying to save the souls of those who need it the most. And that's my message to you. So please go out in the world and do that. Share that with your family, friends, and loved ones. And that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave it. I want to say thank you for watching this episode. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications and hit it, punch it, tap it, headbutt it, whatever. Hit the like button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. That's going to be it for me. Thanks for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.